Hello and welcome to my channel, or welcome back to my channel. And today is a great day because I have the day off of work because it's election day, so I just went and voted. And then I found out today is $7 bag day at the library book sale, so it's aligning. I don't really need any more books, but you gotta go and look. So we will be doing that today, so I'm very excited, and I'm going to try to be better about filming in public and hopefully show you a little bit more about the sale, and then of course show you what I get. So let's go. So just got home and this bag is really heavy. I got a lot more than I got last time. So let's go ahead and show you everything I got. All right, so like I said, I got way more than I got last time. I think last time I only got like 6 books or something. This time I got 16. And 4 of them I've actually read. Okay, so these are books that I'm gonna reread. But let's go ahead and get into it because I don't even know what some of these books are about. I kind of read the description while at the sale, but there's so many people. It didn't seem like it in the clips, but I was trying to film when people weren't around, and they're kind of like all around. They're crying babies. It's a lot. It's a stressful environment. There's Amazon people like trying to scan books to see if they can resell them, and then there's people like me just, browsing. Anyway. Long story short, let's get into these 16 books. We'll start with the paperbacks that I got. So the first one I got is Where'd You Go Bernadette by Maria Semple. So I have not seen this movie, and this is like a movie cover, which I typically don't like, but I have heard things about it, so I was like, let me check it out. So the description says, when 15-year-old B claims a family trip to Antarctica as a reward for perfect grades, her fiercely intelligent but agoraphobic mother, Bernadette, throws herself into preparations for the trip. Worn down by years of trying to live the Seattle life she never wanted, Bernadette is on the brink of a meltdown. As disaster follows disaster, she disappears, leaving her family to pick up the pieces. So, that sounds pretty interesting to me. So I'm excited to check it out and then watch the movie. Then I got Bruiser by Neil Schusterman. So this is a book my sister actually told me about, so I don't really know what it's about, but it says when Bronte starts dating Bruiser Rollins, the guy voted most likely to get the death penalty, her twin brother Tennyson isn't surprised. But then strange things begin to occur. Tennyson and Bronte's grapes heal unnaturally fast, and cuts disappear before their eyes. What at first seems like their good fortune turns to be out more than they bargained for. Sounds pretty interesting. This is like a teen fiction book, I guess. So, should be interesting to check out. Then I picked up the Jane Austen Book Club by Karen Joy Fowler. This doesn't actually have a description on the back or inside, but I have seen the movie for this. And going off what the movie's based about, I know books are always different, but it's basically like these women who all kind of have different struggles meet up to have a book club, and a man joins as well. So that's what the movie's about. We'll see what the book's about. Should be interesting to see. Then I got Alex Marwood's The Poison Garden. This says, when more than 100 members of the Ark, a mysterious and sinister apocalypse cult, are found dead by poison at their isolated community in North Wales, those left alive are scattered to the winds with few coping skills and fewer answers. For 21-year-old Romy, who's never known life outside the compound, learning how to live in a world she has been taught to fear is terrifying. When I read this description, I was really interested because it sounds like it's going to talk about like the past in the cult, and then also how Romy is like living in the future. So I figured that would be a good one to pick up as well. The next one I picked up is Turn of Mind by Alice LaPlante. I actually read this year, so you will see it at my end of year review. I did give this 4 stars when I read it, which means I liked it. Didn't love, but liked it. So I'll just give a quick synopsis. Dr. White is a retired orthopedic surgeon suffering from dementia. When her neighbor Amanda is found dead with 4 of her fingers surgically removed, Dr. White is the prime suspect. But she herself doesn't know whether she did it. This is really interesting. It kind of like puts you in the mind of like what it would be like to have dementia, because some of the chapters are really like fractioned apart. My friend recommended it to me. She loved it, and I just kind of was struggling with it, but I do want to reread it just to see if maybe my opinion changes. But it was really interesting story talking about her relationships with like her caretaker and her children. And it really does make you like wonder what's happening the whole time. Now, those were all of our paperbacks. Let's go ahead and go into our hardbacks. So this one is another one I've read, Mitch Albom's The 5 People You Meet in Heaven. I read this a very long time ago, but at the time, I guess I gave it 4 stars. I don't really, and I actually have read I've seen the movie as well. It says Eddie is a grizzled war veteran who feels trapped in a meaningless life of fixing rides at a seaside amusement park. As the park has changed over years, so too has Eddie, from optimistic youth to embittered old age. Then on his 83rd birthday, Eddie dies in a tragic accident trying to save a little girl from a falling cart. With his final breath, he feels 2 small hands in his and then nothing. He wakes in the afterlife, where he learns it's not a lush Garden of Eden, but a place where your earthly life is explained to you by the 5 people who were in it. That is turning some notches in my head. So I do want to reread this because I remember I did really like it. And I feel sad because somebody obviously like got this for somebody because they wrote to Erica from Mom. Well, Erica, I'm sorry you didn't enjoy it, but I will. All right, next up, I got The Fever by Megan Abbott. This says, Tom is a popular teacher and a proud father of 2 well-adjusted teens. But the Nash's seeming stability is thrown into chaos when Denny's best friend is struck by a terrifying, unexplainable seizure in class. Panic spreads through the family, the school, and the community when no cause can be discovered for the mysterious illness. Soon more girls start to experience bizarre symptoms, leaving health officials puzzled and parents in an uproar. So I thought that sounded pretty interesting. Kind of sounds like a book I read earlier this year, but I figured why not give it a chance. Then next we have Queenie by Candace Carty-Williams. I either read this last year. Yeah, last year. My memory, guys. I swear, when you get older, your memory's just gone. But I gave this 4 stars at the time. This is about Queenie Jenkins, a journalist, and her boyfriend has asked her to leave their apartment. And her boss doesn't really listen to her. Her family doesn't listen to her. Her friends try and help her. And she's just kind of like a downward spiral. And it's kind of just like about her experience like going through life, and I really enjoyed it. I think when I reviewed this book, it was definitely last year. When I reviewed this book, I wanted to see it like turn into a series. I still have that hope. I definitely want to reread it, and I'm glad I own it now as well, because it's been on my list to buy. But every time I've gone and looked at it at the store, it's just been a little bit too much, so $7 bag day. And then here is another book that I read, Rock, Paper, Scissors by Queenie. And I did read this year. And I loved it. And I don't want to give too much away. Maybe, hopefully this description doesn't. Things have been wrong with Mr. and Mrs. Wright for a long time. Every anniversary, the couple exchange traditional gifts, paper, cotton, tin. And each year, Adam's wife writes him a letter that she never lets him read until now. Self-confessed workaholic and screenwriter Adam Wright has lived with face blindness his whole life. He can't recognize friends or family or even his own wife, and Amelia is sick of feeling unseen. When they went a weekend away, it might just be the weekend their marriage needs, or it might break them down. One of them is lying, and someone doesn't want them to live happily ever after. I was shocked by this book. I don't say that really a lot. There was a point in the book where something is revealed. I guess that's kind of a spoiler, but something is revealed, and I just sat there and I was like, wait, what's happening? I had to like go back and be like, wait, I haven't really had that happen a lot in my life where I had to like reassess everything. So that was a good one. Though I think we've gotten through all the ones that I've read before. Now the rest are ones I haven't read before. The Mars Room by Rachel Kushner. Oh, I hope it's not anybody. All right. Romy Hall is at the start of 2 consecutive life sentences at Stanville Women's Correctional Facility. Outside is the world from which she has been severed, the San Francisco of her youth and her young son Jackson. Inside is a new reality, thousands of women hustling for the bare essentials needed to survive. The bluffing and pageantry and casual acts of violence by guards and prisoners alike, and the deadpan absurdities of institutional living. So it's really just kind of a deep dive into this character's like time in prison, I guess. So that should be pretty interesting. Sometimes I like to read different books like that. Then we had picked up this, The Ballerinas by Rachel Pelkey Dale. This doesn't even have like library tags on it either, which was kind of one of the reasons I picked up, because most of them have like the library tags on it, but this one doesn't, so I thought that was good. 13 years ago, Delphine Leger abandoned her prestigious soloist spot at the Paris Opera Ballet for a new life in St. Petersburg, taking with her a secret that could upend the lives of her best friends, fellow dancers Lindsay and Margot. Now 36 years old, Delphine has returned to her former home to choreograph the ballet that will kickstart the next phase of her career. And she hopes to finally make things right with her former friends. But Delphine quickly discovers that things have changed while she's been away, and some secrets can't stay buried forever. So it kind of talks about how it examines their friendship, the dark drive towards physical perfection, and rage that many women hold inside. So, sounds very interesting to me. Next, I got The Girl He Used to Know by Tracy Garvis Graves. And this actually looks like it was initially bought at Meijer. So maybe somebody donated this to the library. Annika Rose is an English major at the University of Illinois, anxious in social situations where she finds most people's behaviors confusing. She'd rather be surrounded by the order and discipline of books or the quiet solitude of playing chess. Jonathan Hoffman joins the chess club and loses his first game and heart to Annika. He admires her ability to be true to herself, quirks and all, and accepts the challenges involved in pursuing a relationship with her. What follows is a tumultuous yet tender love affair that withstands everything except the unforeseen tragedy that forces them apart. Sounds very coming of age / romance / you're trying to figure out what's going to happen between them. Then I got Instant Love by Jamie Attenberg. This says, told through the eyes of 3 young women and their friends and lovers, Instant Love explores what it means to be in love, what it means to be lonely, and what it means to be both at the same time. Holly turns to computer dating to find love. Maggie recounts the story of one crazy summer to her disbelieving husband and feels the distance between them to grow wider. And Sarah remembers the one who got away and the one she ran away from. So it's kind of like 3 perspectives. So that should be interesting. Usually I don't like check the scores of these books before I get them. So it's always kind of like a shot in the dark, which is kind of fun to do. Then I picked up Read Me by Leo Benedictus. Read Me is a seductive, haunting novel that holds a sinister mirror up to the ways in which we observe, judge, and influence people. It follows a serial stalker as he targets different women and escalates his efforts until he settles on Frances, a bright young professional whose career is set to take off and whose life he proceeds to unravel from the inside out. I picked this up because it sounded very similar to You by Carolyn Kepnes, so I kind of wanted to see if this did it better. And it's kind of interesting to read those type of books because you're set in the mind. Usually when you read, you're like rooting for the main character, and then in those books you like feel conflicted because I don't know about other people, but when I read, I'm like kind of put myself in the character. Then I picked up And Again by Jessica Chiarella. Sorry if I'm butchering that. Hannah, David, Connie, and Linda, 4 terminally ill patients, have been given genetically perfect bodies as part of a pilot program called Sublife. Their new bodies are exact replicas of their old selves without imperfections. Still, the fresh start they've been given is anything but perfect. Without their old bodies, their new physical identities have no memories. Hannah has to relearn how to hold a paintbrush, as she was an artistic prodigy. David, a congressman, grapples with his old destructive habits. Connie, an actress whose stunning looks are restored after a protracted illness, tries to navigate an industry obsessed with physical beauty. And Linda, who spent 8 years paralyzed after a car accident, now struggles to reconnect with a family that has seemed to build a new life without her. Sounds very interesting. Hopefully it's a good one. And then the last book, Last Woman Standing by Amy Gentry. Dana Diaz is an aspiring stand-up comedian, a woman in a man's world. When she meets a tough computer programmer named Amanda, the 2 bond over their struggles in boys' club professions. Dana confides that she's recently been harassed and assaulted, and Amanda comes up with a plan. They should go after each other's assailants. But Dana finds that revenge, however sweet, draws her into a more complicated series of betrayals. Soon her distrust turns to paranoia, encompassing strangers, friends, and even herself. That really reminded me of that movie that came out last year. And I'm blanking on the name of the movie. Anyway, that sounds pretty interesting to me as well. That's like my key word of this video, is interesting. So I read 4 of them, but the rest I have not read. Who knows when I'll get time to read them, because I still haven't read all the books I got last library sale. But you know, I'm gonna really try and read the books I own. That is just a goal for me. But 16 books for $7, that is a steal. And I hope everyone enjoyed this video. Let me know if you like seeing videos like this, and I will see you all next time.